This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by SACL CAI.
Hi, how you doing?
How are you?
Good.
Ralph Amico.
Nice to meet you.
See you.
Good to be here. Hi.
Dr. Paul, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Seen you since Concord. Nice to see you again.
Good to meet everybody again, newly. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It shouldn't be very complex. I mean, thinking about whether this is a personal right or a collective right. In my mind, there's no such thing as a collective right. And, you know, the irony of that case is that I was first elected in a special election in 1976. It was when the D.C. law was passed. And at that time, I was brand new, and I brought up, we can disapprove a law in D.C. because it's a federal city. So I wrote a resolution of disapproval, and it was ruled out of order because they didn't want that on the table. And I said, well, it's unconstitutional. I said, oh, well, the courts will take care of it. So they're getting around to it, hopefully. But it's also a dangerous case, I think.
That's why I believe it probably never was brought to the forefront before.
Yeah.
Because both sides realized that it could mean the death knell for either one of them.
And my argument back then was that we shouldn't. They said, "Oh, the courts will take care of it." I said, "Well, you're not supposed to do it if it's the wrong bill. And who knows? They may use this as a standard. You know, if you can pass a federal law like that." So it's sort of ironic that, of course, I had been in for 4 terms and I went back for a while. It's been a good many years, but now it's going to be before the Supreme Court. But
you know, at the rate that it just isn't surprising.
All the issue of privacy.
Big to have. Me too.
SACL CAI.
Okay, I'll just stick it in and look at it a little later.
Yeah, I have.
Does that make him a radical? You want those radicals? Absolutely not. A radical for freedom. You had a crime with a gun, you go to jail. Thank you. Sure.
Dr. Paul, you haven't had the debate you asked about the CFR, trilateral election and whatnot. Are you aware of how many candidates? Yeah, exactly. Nice job. Are you aware of how many candidates are actually running or actually members of the CFR trilateral?
Do I know?
Yeah.
No, but I don't know the details of that, but I think a bunch of them are.
Oh, they definitely are.
Yeah, and you might know the names better than I do. And, of course, what they would like to do is belittle those of us who are concerned about global government. It's all they're conspiracy nuts. But, you know, like, I give my honest answer is I believe that it's not... you know, conspiracy in the sense that they're behind closed doors conspiring. I think it was more so 30 years ago. But now I think it's much more open, and they truly believe in globalism. I mean, they don't believe in national sovereignty. They want the WTO to regulate all businesses for the purpose of protecting big business. So, you know, there's a movement by the WTO, which is part of the UN, is to...
Former State Rep Henry McElroy here, planning to corner Representative Paul for a few minutes with some ideas. Some of Dr. Paul's fans, as usual, open carrying.
I think so. Is there anybody else who has any questions?
Question for you. As I understand it, you voted against the lawsuit protection for gun manufacturers. Can you? That's one of the things that a lot of gun owners are concerned about. Can you?
Well, to me, that was a constitutional issue. In fact, it's one of the toughest votes, and also for medical liability.
Right.
Position, and I, like somebody else, understands, you know, the medical liability. But really, that should be a state issue.
Right.
And some states do a good job, better than others. But the problem with me saying, oh, well, the gun issue is so important that I'll make this an exception, then I lose credibility. So I fight for our rights, but I also fight for the rule of law.
Right.
I mean, it's conceivable that if you change the Constitution, that you might be able to handle some of those problems. But I think it just should be handled legislatively.
Right.
all other tort laws handle at the state level, so I didn't want to be trapped and say, aha, you have guns, so therefore you're going to make an exception. You like the dog, so you're going to make the exception.
Right.
So although some gun people didn't understand it, I think overall I gained credibility by being to defend the Constitution the best I can, because if we don't do that, then
carving out exceptions to who can sue who.
But if that were the only issue, I probably wouldn't be worried so much about what's happening in the country. If that were the only exception.
Well, this is Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com, signing off from Hooksett, New Hampshire. Cycle, CAI, the company that does collections a whole new way. They know that not only do you want your Benjamins back, you also want to keep your customers. Cycle, CAI, they collect with respect.